All right, you guys, thank you so much for being on here with us for night 2 of our Spirit Week. Chantel and I are super excited to chat with you guys tonight. I know last night, if you got to watch our training, we talked about posting, sharing our story, planting seeds. And tonight's going to be kind of a continuation of that because now we're going to talk about, say you had people commenting on those your post, responding to your story, messaging you, and maybe you're like wondering, well, I don't really know, I'm not super comfortable talking with people once they show interest. So Chantel and I are here tonight to share some tips with you and maybe some do's and don'ts and ideas for when you're having those conversations. So Chantel, why don't we jump in first to just talking about some of our tips for having those conversations. Do you want to
Yeah,
share
for
anything
sure.
real quick?
Yeah, and you guys, my dog followed me in here. We're home by ourselves, and I don't know, have the heart to kick him out. So I'm sorry if you hear scratching. That's not me. That's my dog. Okay, you guys, tips. So Lindsay and I had a great conversation today about having conversations, and I think the biggest tip I have is, well, we both agreed on this, but keeping it simple, not overthinking things. And so to me, that means talking to people like you would talk normally, right? I feel like in the beginning, I remember seeing people's faces like, whoa, because I did a lot of talking in person. People just being so overwhelmed because I was saying too much, or I was like throwing out like ridiculous information that they did not need to know. And so I have learned over the years, or actually I learned pretty quickly, just keep it simple. Don't answer questions they don't ask. Don't word vomit on them. Don't, give them too much information. Listen to them. And we'll talk about hesitations a little bit later, but listen to what they're really asking and just answer that question. So, for example, when we had an event in St. Louis, and a lady that was our waitress, I think there was like 40 of us at a table and they had her by herself. But at the end, she was just like, what do you guys do? Like, what are you guys all here for? And I just said, you know what? It's an amazing business opportunity. Can I get you on Facebook? And so I pulled up my phone, told her to search her name. She sent the friend request on her behalf. And now I'm talking to her about the business. And so I kept it cool and simple. I didn't give her any information. I said, I'm driving home tomorrow. As soon as I get home, I will get you some information. I would love to have you on our team so you could come to our next dinner like this. So just keeping it so like chill and yes, blitzing. It doesn't have to just be on social media, you guys. Sharing the business is just good anytime, right? Night, day, in person, on the computer, however you want. So
I love that. That's like old school. I forgot all about whenever we used to do that, but that's awesome. And I love that you kind of brought that up too, because we didn't talk about that earlier today. But I feel like people don't even think about how simple that is. And like you said, you were just like, it's an amazing that you didn't go into the whole spiel right there because it's like realistically, could she have focused on that? Could you have really explained it well? But you gave her the quick little snippet and then you got her on social media so she could have more of a conversation, a one-on-one
mhm.
conversation. And that kind of leads me to my next thought is, say you do have someone that comments on your post or something like that. It's super important to not answer their questions in the comments of that post, you guys. I always say, let me shoot you a message or I'll message you and take it to Messenger so you can have that one-on-one conversation. Because, if you're doing it in the comment section, for one thing, everybody can read it. Then you don't get to know who's really looking at your post, who's really interested because they're just reading what you're putting out there. But I feel like by going to Messenger and having more of that one-on-one, everybody's a little more comfortable and you can really ask those questions and find out, is this really the product for them? And it can be a little more open. So that's something that's super important to make sure you do. And even if it's a simple question, sometimes if someone's like, oh, how much is it, I'll just be like, oh, I'll message you. And whenever Chantel and I talked earlier, we were talking about keeping it simple, but we're also talking about not assuming things. When you're having maybe you have someone that comments on your post and you're like, oh, I'm going to talk to her about it, but I know she probably can't afford it. So I need to try, she has this going on or this. So I need to figure out how I'm going to, approach that with her. And something that I always do is I have my conversation Like I started out the same way with everyone. Like I'm not prejudging. I'm not thinking, oh, well, this person, they just bought a new house. They're not going to be having the money to spend on this. Or, oh, I know they're having a hard time, so she's probably not going to splurge. That's not my place to decide that. So you guys, like, make sure whenever you're messaging them, just start it out like you would a stranger that you don't know. And then as they say, you know, and like Chantel said, we're going to talk about some hesitations and some obstacles in a minute, but like as they give you information, you can bounce off of that to kind of gauge which direction the conversation is going to go. But as Chantel said, like keeping things simple, like when someone says, you know, what's the info, I give them just the little blurb of info. I let them ask me what the pricing is. And then I just give them the pricing. And then I let them ask me, what is a Perks member? Like, I remember when I first joined and I would be like, oh my gosh, like they're going to want to know this, this, and this. So I want to hurry up and send it all to them because I don't want them to feel like I'm keeping any information back from them. You know, I don't want to be tricking them. So I want to throw it all at them. And when I look back at some of my messages when I first started, it was like this long. And I'm like,
Yes.
how did I ever sign anyone with that? And you guys, like, so now, like, I'm just literally like, it's so simple, and I'm letting them guide the conversation. And I'm letting, you know, and if they maybe don't ask me what's the pricing and they say, oh, cool, then I'll be like, yeah, like it is. Would you like me to send you pricing? You know, and I kind of get the conversation, but I don't assume like, oh, they need to know this, they need to know this, they need to know this, because we don't want to overwhelm them. Any other thoughts on that, Chantel, or am I forgetting anything we talked about?
I was also going to
On that?
say that it's important to, like, yes, like you said, don't assume things, but also don't be afraid to compliment people too. Like another example with that waitress is I was like, you did an amazing job. You had all these people by yourselves. If you can do that, you can easily do this business, you know? And so think of a characteristic that you saw, or maybe they have an amazing smile, or maybe they have a great like personality. Just kind of think of a way to compliment people, because I think that goes a long way, and be genuine about it. Like, you know, don't be fake, but I don't know. I just think really just being yourself and talking to people like you're their friend, and how you would talk to your spouse, or well, maybe not your spouse. No, just kidding. Or how you would talk to a friend, or, you know, your mom or whatever. So, yeah, just keep it simple. Don't overthink it.
Yeah, and be excited and confident.
Mm-hmm.
And the, you know, because that's going to radiate. Even if you feel like you don't really know what you're saying, you're like, oh, I don't know if they're going to like, you know, believe me or whatever. Just be excited and just really be, like Chantel said, genuine. Because even if you go like off the cuff and you're like, oh my gosh, like I think this about the gummies, yada, yada, yada. And it's like your own personal thing. Like, and even sending that voice clip, you know, I do like to text because I'm like a little weird and awkward. So sometimes I'm like, I don't want to like talk, but sending that voice clip, they can hear that excitement. So especially when I'm having a conversation and they might be like, oh, does it really work? Or, you know, do I have to order monthly? Or I feel like, you know, they're kind of getting like on grounds where they could be like skeptical. I'll send a voice clip because I feel like they really need to hear me and my excitement and just hear my voice to kind of like settle them down and make them a little more comfortable. And I always feel like that's like a go-to.
Yeah, I
When I
agree.
do that.
And I also feel like we none of us love our voices, right? Don't we all feel a little awkward and weird? And I feel like when you do that and they hear us and they hear that we're just normal people, it makes them think, okay, they're not this posh, polished, professional sounding person. It's just, you know, average Jane in Kansas City, Missouri, or where do you live? Do you live in, I know it's technically not St. Louis.
I'm in like St. Genevieve.
Okay,
So it's like
St.
the
Genevieve.
country-ish.
Fancy. I've been there. I love St. Genevieve. So it doesn't matter where you live. Like none of us are professional speakers or anything. You just get
Mhm.
better as you go, like with anything else. So do you want to talk about hesitations now?
Yeah, I think this is a big thing that will be helpful. So Chantel and I were talking about, you know, as we're having conversations with people, you know, whether it's about the opportunity or about the products, people have hesitations, they have objections, things that they're going to bring in. Sometimes, like even being in the business as long as I have for almost 10 years, and I'm sure Chantel will agree, you know, it can kind of throw us off our game a little bit, but especially being newer. And you're like, you know, maybe you're using the boards app and you're like following along. And I know they have objections in there, which is amazing, but you're still like, whoa, like, I don't know what to do when you get a little frantic. But Chantel and I thought maybe we could work through some of the common things with you guys and kind of share with you what we would say to kind of help you work through that. So, Chantel, what is the first one that
The
you
first one we
had?
talked about was a lot of people constantly, you guys, I know you've seen it. I'm on this medication, or I'm breastfeeding, or I'm pregnant. So that is a common, and that's more with people that want to become customers, but even distributors, like they want to use our products too and be a product of the product. And so that's a common one. So, Lindsay, what's something that you would say to somebody that's like, oh man, I don't know, I'm on this medication, or I'm breastfeeding, or I have this injury?
Yeah, and one of the things I always tell people, you guys, because we can't tell, we're not doctors, we're not like medical professionals. I mean, some of us kind of are, but we really can't share that with people. I always just say, and even if I had experienced myself using it, I'll say, really, since everybody's body is different, everybody's, the way we react to things is different, we really recommend you ask your doctor to make sure that's okay with, for you to use. And so that's kind of how I approach it. Now, from there, if they want to go on an order, like that's their own business. But I always tell them it's best to ask their doctor just because we are all different. And one of the things I get a lot of times, people will just say, oh, I needed to go check with my doctor before I can order that, But typically, maybe you would be like, okay, sure, sounds good. Let me know what they say. But I'm always saying, okay, would you want me to send you the ingredient list to show your doctor? And they're
Mhm.
like, oh, of course, because, if I didn't do that and say we were talking about the slimming gummies and they say they need to go ask their doctor and we say, okay, just let me know what they say. Well, what are they going to go to their doctor and say? Like, I was talking to this girl online about some gummies. Can I take them?
That sounds really sketchy, actually,
Right.
when you say
And
that
he's
out
probably
loud.
going to be like, no, you probably shouldn't, even if they would be okay. So always make sure that if they tell you that they need to check with their doctor, say, would you like me to send you the ingredient list so you can show them that? And then boom, they're going to be able to show the exact ingredients, the exact product, and make sure that, and I feel like get the best answer. And 9 out of 10 times, I feel like when that happens, they come back and say, oh, my doctor said it was okay or whatever.
I
Sean,
can't mute myself, so I have to type. But I was telling Jenny, thanks. I usually always wear black, and so it's probably different for you guys to see me in something that's a color, let alone pastel. Okay, the other objection we had was I can't afford it. So what do you tell people when they say that they can't afford either becoming a customer or wanting to join as a distributor?
yeah, so my big thing, it kind of depends on what like level we're at. Now, if we're talking about a pack and they can't afford it, sometimes like, what I'll usually say is, okay, no worries. What would be more of your budget that we can work with? Or what would be something that's more affordable for you? That way we can kind of like work down. Now, I don't say that when they're like, oh, I really want to lose weight. I don't kind of jump into what's your budget. I want to start talking about like, whatever they commented on. If it was a product pack, I'm going to start talking at that and let them tell me that's too expensive. And then we work our way down. And same thing with the distributor pack. Maybe we're talking about the 149 pack and they say that that's too expensive. So then I'll ask what is more of their budget. And when I do that, I feel like and I don't know, somebody might disagree, but by asking them at that point what their budget is, like I'm not putting a suggestion in their head. Like I'm not immediately going from maybe the slimming system to a bottle of gummies. Like I'm not jumping down that low because they might be able to go somewhere in between. So again, we're not assuming. So I'm trying to talk to them. I'm trying to figure out what is best for them, because remember, we're here to help them and we want to work with them. And I feel like when we're asking these questions, they're seeing that it's not just about making a sale. We do really want to help them. So same thing with like a distributor pack. If they're like, oh, I can't afford that one, I'm like, well, what's more of your budget? So see what we can work with. And then if it's about the products, I may suggest the business part of it. Oh, we have this great opportunity to use the products and make some extra money. Would that work for you? Go from there. But then at the same time, like if it's just not really working out, I feel like I used to do this back in the day. And if they say they couldn't afford it, I'd be like, okay, thank you. And like bow
Ghost.
out and
Yep.
like just be like, well, that went well.
We
But
are so similar. I did that too.
yeah, but now I'm like, no worries, I'm not going anywhere and I'm happy to help you when the timing is better. And I just kind of put that out there because I want them to know that I'm not going to forget about them. And, and I understand because I do get it. Some people just don't have the money. So I don't want to just shut them down and not respond. Because I also think I maybe back in the past, like just didn't even respond. I was like, checked off my list. And that's rude. Like it kind of annoys me that I could be that way. And I wasn't trying to be rude, but I think at the time I didn't know what to say. So by just letting them know I'm happy to help when the timing is better, I'm just kind of making that last connection, and they're staying on my follow-up list. Like they're going to talk about that on tomorrow night Zoom, the follow-up and all that, but they're not off the hook. So Chantel, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I agree 1000%. Like I know it's old school, but a lot of times I say, you know what? I bring myself back to it. Like I was in that same position. I could not afford it. And that is ultimately the reason why I joined. I was sick of living paycheck to paycheck and sick of not being able to afford stuff. Like it was just, I couldn't even get a cup of coffee, right? Because I was paying for grad school. And so and kind of putting it back on yourself, like I get that. I was totally there, or a person on my team was in the exact same position. Here's what they did to be able to afford it. They had a garage sale or they sold something on Facebook Marketplace. Just give them options, different ways to defeat that hesitation.
Or maybe they have
Overcome
like
the
a birthday
obstacle.
coming up, or it's going to be like a Mother's Day or a holiday that you could say, and you
Yeah.
can even like lie and be like, oh, I've had people ask for it as a birthday present or a Mother's Day gift or anniversary gift, whatever, just to even kind of put that idea out there as well.
That's what I did. It was Mother's Day coming up. It was end of April, April 29th. And I told my husband, I want something for Mother's Day. Don't ask what it is, but it's $99. Peace out. And he was like, you're weird, but okay, go ahead, go for it. Now I don't have to buy you a Mother's Day gift. That's sweet, you know? So yeah, it's totally how I started. So that's legit. Okay, so another hesitation is no time. That's a huge one. And I think it's important to, people are stressed and overwhelmed. I mean, it's hard to be busy, right? But also spinning that, I just feel like busy people are the best at this business, honestly, because they are good with their time, they are scheduled and organized, and they just get stuff done, right? I mean, what do you think, Lindsay?
Yeah. I feel like that's silly because I was thinking about this yesterday, like when I was in the shower and people say like they're busy. I'm like, I'm kind of like offended that some people think they're like too busy because I'm busy too. It's
Right.
a little bit different. We all have our ways to like, of being busy. And I think this, like, I was just thinking about this too. Like, as we're talking about these objections, when I'm replying to any of these objections, this is when I'm sending my voice clip because I feel like this is when they really need to hear, like, I'm a real person. So even with the time thing, I would just tell them, we're all busy. No one really has this, like, some people might just extra time where they want to just, do something fun, but just saying like we're all busy. But the thing that I love about this is you can literally work it into your schedule no matter how busy, literally 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. And I might give an example and I'll tell them, I'm working the business when I'm waiting at the bus stop for my kids, or when I'm in the grocery line to check out at the store, whatever it is. Or shoot, sometimes I'm in the middle of the aisle and people are probably like cussing me out because I'm like hurrying up and sending a voice clip or sending a message really quick, literally anytime. So I let them know that doesn't matter how busy you might feel, like this can work in, and we don't have set hours. You get to pick when you work this business. And you can probably say, I'm sure you're on your phone anyways, like on Facebook or whatever. Like I'm literally just working this in that same time that I'm doing those things, and just letting them understand like you're a real person too, and if you can, they can figure out the time to do this.
I love that. And Gabby is sharing a great, yes, I love that you guys are answering questions. I love this team so much. Yes. So Erica asked a question and Teresa and Gabby are both giving amazing info for her. Thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome.
That's awesome. I'm not good at multitasking, like talking and looking at the
I know I can be busy, but I have to focus on one thing at a time. We are so similar. It's hilarious. Okay. And then the other thing that we get a lot is having to talk with husband, which I absolutely respect. And so that's, I always offer, hey, I'm happy to talk to them. If they want to talk to my husband, they can talk to my husband. I always offer that, which my husband's really good about being up for that if any men want to talk to him. But yeah, that's one that I get, quite a bit more so than I thought I would.
Yeah, and I'm like you, like if someone ever says that, I always tell them, no worries. And I tell them, if he has questions or if you think of more questions, I'm happy to like answer those, or I'm happy to get on the phone and go over those. Like, and I
Mhm.
think, and back in the day, I probably would have been like, okay, sounds good, and just like bowed out of the conversation. But I want them to know, like, I will answer their questions.
Mhm.
I'm happy to talk about it. So, I mean, yeah, and I don't think I just think that's what you say. You don't really you could always just say, sure, let me know what they think.
Uh-huh. And I also like to say, you know, also keep in mind and let your husband or whoever your spouse know that this is not like a commitment for life. Like at any point in time, you can bow out. I thought the same thing. I was afraid to jump in. I thought that it was so intense and such a big decision, but at the end of the day, it wasn't. Like it was literally what I would spend at Target on stupid stuff that I didn't need. And I was not committed to anything. And I controlled how much I worked, where I worked from, how long I worked, and what my income was. Like that was ultimately the thing that sealed the deal, was having that limitless income option, right? If I wanted to really go crazy with this, which I did. Yes, Amber said I respect it until I get back. My husband says no. Well, who is he? Yes. Yeah, there's some intense dynamics between some couples out there. So yeah, I can't ever imagine my husband ever saying no to something, that's $99. But I mean, some people are really living in a place where that's a lot of money, and my husband would be more like, let's figure out a way to, if this is really important to you, let's figure out a way to make this work. But yeah, take a seat, sir. Amber.
Well, I know, like I have some people, it seems like lately, and they're like, oh, my husband like won't let me do like one more thing. And I feel like
Mhm.
sometimes that is the case. Like if they're like I don't know what the right word is, but they have like, this is what they do, like multiple different businesses, like they're like a
Uh-huh.
repeat entrepreneur or something, network marketer, and they just sign up for different things, and they all have their different requirements. But I just thought I had an idea in my head and it totally left my mind.
And we all get those kind of people, right? That jump in and then jump out as quick as they started, but they could potentially bring in somebody that could be the person that changes your organization or your business. And so, even if you don't personally bring somebody into the business or bring in a customer, being a good leader, mentor, or providing great customer service could lead to somebody signing up with you, a customer that, the person that enrolled them quit, but they're still like in our customer group page, could be like, you know what, I do want to join this business. And then you could sign them up. So you just never know, honestly, how people are going to come into your organization and who is going to be the one that sets it on fire.
Yeah. Something I just thought about that I forgot about while I was talking was, maybe you're talking to someone and they tell you like, oh no, thank you, I'm not interested. Or, maybe you guys had a back and forth conversation and you did a quick little touch back. They're like, I decided not to. Like, don't be afraid to say, like, okay, I totally understand, that's fine. May I ask like what's holding you back? Or can I
Mhm.
ask like what changed? Because sometimes, like a lot of times, I feel like it's like, oh, I talked to like my aunt's cousin's niece, dogs, goldfish, and they, had this to say about it. And it's not actually accurate information. And same thing when you're talking to someone about the products. And I'll have people that I'll be talking about the gummies will say, and they're like, oh, no, thank you. I tried that before. Or, oh, I tried it, works before. And I'm like, well, what did you try?
Mhm.
Because it's not like a one product. But I'll say, if they say something like that, I'll be like, oh, can I ask like what product you tried before? And they might say, oh, I tried, the wraps or something, or
Mhm.
I tried those before. I'll say, oh, like, something I can tell you is that our products have been reformulated, the ingredients have been changed, to have better results, better ingredients. So like while there's some of the similar products, a lot has changed with the products over the recent years. Just letting them know that things are different, so I'm like, oh, like we've had a lot of changes with our products, I'd love to send you more info about what's new or what's changed. And I do that with the business too. If someone says, oh, I did that years ago, I let them know, like we've had tons of changes with our company, with our products, the way we get paid, and I say, can I send you info about our changes or what's new? So I'm always trying to spin it in a positive way. Like, I don't really like to try to end our conversation on like a no, like a straight hard like no, or like I'm just not interested. I try to talk because, and not because I don't want to let it go, but a lot of times it's just a misconception or misinformation that they have, and I feel like it shows that we care, that we want to try to like hash it out and talk to them about it.
All right, Elle said, what about the objection MLMs have a bad business structure and oh, I lost it now. And are not a good business venture. Yeah,
Like, well, show me one that is.
exactly what Amber said, that they're just behind on the times and aren't fully aware how they operate. There's a great cartoon on YouTube. Let me look if I can find the link. It literally, I mean, it's kind of smart alecky, but I feel like it's perfect. I would ask that person, let me see, hold on. Have they ever been involved in a network marketing company? Because here's the thing. You could say something bad about any and all things. Hold on, let me get the link real fast and I'll put it in
I
the.
have decided that my job sucks, the economy sucks, and the only way
Okay.
things are going.
This is hilarious, but it's so true. Because if somebody would have told me that, I'm putting it in the chat. If somebody would have told me like, oh, you shouldn't do this because it's such a bad business structure. 11 years later, are you kidding me? Like, it's absolutely an amazing business structure. Like, it's so amazing I could name off a gazillion things, but mostly it's based on your effort. Like, it doesn't matter what my upline did. I could surpass them and do more and make more, and I have, right? And you guys can all do the same thing. You can surpass any of your upline leaders and do more and make more than any of us, because it's based on individual, like, it's just, if it's just so powerful, right? What other business can you, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you guys, the first 15 months when I went ambassador, when I was in school and working full time, I didn't work this 8 hours a day. And yet I got to ambassador and was making, combined with my husband's checks, close to 70,000 a month. Where else can you do that? Honestly, you know what I'm saying? And so when people have those hesitations, I feel like maybe they mean well, maybe they have such a closed mind that they can't even comprehend that. But even an extra $500, $300, $200 a month for doing something, just sharing a product or sharing a business opportunity, just like you would share a great movie or a great restaurant. I mean, are you kidding me? Like, it's not rocket science, right? It's such a simple business model. It's way easier than working a 9 to 5 every day. I promise you that. And we don't have to deal with the customer. Like, we have a whole like crew of customer service people, and then a whole corporate staff, and then a whole factory that ships. All we have to do is open our mouths or post on Facebook or Instagram. Like, it's just beyond me, like, how simple and beautiful this business structure is. So they clearly don't know what they're talking about, honestly. And so you're going to hear stuff like that, you guys. When I was brand new, I was probably 2 or 3 months in. I will never forget. I went to a barbecue at my brother's house, and I saw a girl there, one of his friends, and I knew her sister was doing It Works. And she was like, oh my gosh, I see that you're doing It Works. And she was like, it's great, for a few months, and then it stops. So good luck and enjoy it for the next few months. It's going to stop though. And I left that barbecue feeling defeated, like, dang, I was a brand new Ruby. I thought things were going so great. And I could have been like, you know what? She's right. It's been great. I probably should bow out. It's not going to last. But thankfully, I just was like, oh, whatever. Like, I don't care what she said. Like, her sister's journey is not my journey. And it was so fun and so exciting. I was like, I'm just going to step on the grass. I mean, the grass, step on the gas.
Step on the grass too.
I did have to step on the grass to leave the barbecue, but yeah, I'm just going to step on the gas. Step on the gas and go hard, because I'm having fun. I love this, and it's changing my family's life. And so be very careful of, who you're sharing. You don't have to share everything with everybody. I'm very guarded with who I share my dreams and goals with, because there are just some people that are just, not to be intentionally negative, but their mindset is so minimal, right? They have such a skewed, like, very basic, and you go to school, you get a job, you work there until you die. Like, you can't expand their mind for them. But since, I mean, yours is clearly already expanded, be very careful who you share those big goals and dreams and, what you're trying to achieve with this business, because there's just some people, no matter what, they just can't fathom. It's all just too good to be true. And maybe that's something to do with them, but don't take it personal, Yes, life sucks and then you die mentality. And I'm absolutely, nope, that's not it. Like, I am like, life is amazing. I'm so grateful. And if there's anything in life that I don't like, I'm going to try to figure out a way to change it. Right. Like, this is not a dress rehearsal. We're only here once. So I'm going to give this life everything I have, and I'm going to work my tail off, but have a lot of fun too while I'm at it, and step on the grass.
I love that. We're gonna
hashtag step on the grass, everybody.
that is so funny.
Uh,
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I hope you guys understand, because you have all the tools to have the conversations with people. Like, we have the boards app, you have your upline, you have our amazing team to give you the nitty-gritty of, this is the info you sent, this is the pricing. But like, it's so important to talk about these other things that you're going to hear, because really you can respond any way you want to in a positive way, but it's all about being positive and being confident and just understanding, like, this is all part of it, like rolling with those punches and knowing that it's not just you that's having some of these this like kickback, or maybe some of this hesitation. It doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It doesn't mean you explain something the wrong way. This is just how people are, but how you respond to that and get past it is going to help you with signing those people, enrolling those new customers and things like that. So just being excited and being confident and just not letting it slow you down. Like Chantel, people are going to come in and say their things. We've got to stay focused on what we're going after and thinking about, okay, well, that person said that, but they're always like super negative. So I'm not really surprised that they're talking like that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And something I always think about is, am I going to take advice from someone I wouldn't trade places with? So that's always something that I'm thinking about as I'm talking to people too.
Yes. And that cartoon
go ahead.
link I shared is totally regarding that. Like I said, it's very short, and I don't know if you really want to send it, but I mean, it's very true. Like, would you, just like Lindsay said, would you trade places with them? And most of the people that are hesitant or have bashed me or talked bad about me, yeah, I don't know what they're thinking now, but here it is. Next month is my 11-year anniversary, and I'm still here, and I'm still making more than my husband, and he has an amazing 6-figure government job. You know what I'm saying? So that's not my problem. They don't pay my bills, so I don't need to worry about what their thoughts are. You know what I'm saying? This is my family, and this is my life and my goals, and so that's all I need to focus on.
Well, as long as the people aren't like posting on your stuff and like being nasty and negative on there, just because they're hesitant or they're skeptical doesn't mean that they're not going to come around, because they're still going to be watching your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's just, I feel as though it's just a matter of time. Like, I've had people tell me no and then come back around and say yes. So don't let that stuff get to you guys either. Just, follow stay focused on your goals. Make sure you give information as people ask it, and just follow through with that, and just go through that rinse and whatever it, like, wash, rinse, repeat, just through that.
Wash, rinse,
And
repeat
you're
over
gonna
and
have the
over.
people coming through and enrolling. Chantel, is there anything else as we get ready to wrap up that we didn't touch on? Or anything you want to, like, last minute, like, tips that you thought of or anything like that?
I just think keeping it simple, wash, rinse, repeat. We're sharing products, we're sharing a business opportunity. That's really all this is. And everything else is just like, sprinkles and extra and like amazing opportunity, all that stuff. But at the base, if you bear it down to the minimum, we are literally sharing amazing products and sharing an incredible business opportunity over and over and over and over again. Yes. Teresa said, let's not forget our boomerang tonight.
Yeah, because
okay, let's do the boomerang, which you guys, everyone that was in St. Louis, you guys all blew my mind. You guys were incredible speakers. I was so just so amazed. I was so proud. And Lindsay brought it to my attention that I looked a little extra walking in with the luggage set, but I walked into the event, you guys, with luggage because I needed to change out of my comfy, drove 4 hours in the car outfit. I wasn't trying to look extra. But I now looking back, it probably
That's how
did
she
seem.
travels. She always travels with a little suitcase.
Yes, Amber, only 2 bags. Hashtag only 2 bags. Step on the grass. Step on the grass, you guys. Okay, let's do a boomerang. Hold on, I gotta change my. Okay, ready? One. Well, how do you even count down for a boomerang? What? Okay, let's do it. Woo! All right.
Awesome.
All right. It is normally 4. You guys, I have a weird, hotels gross me out. I need to take a pillow and my own comforter because I worked at a hotel years ago in college and I'm not playing around. I take slippers, everything. Okay. That's bad when you guys know how I am traveling. Have an amazing night. Tomorrow, scarred Amber. Tomorrow night, we've got,
It's going to be Kara and Amber, and they're
Kara and
talking
Amber.
about following up and sealing the deal. I am
Oh my
so
gosh,
excited for
yes.
that because
And those two are incredible at that. So if you guys have any tips or anything you want to share, put it in the comments of this post. Thank you guys so much for answering questions and sharing tips in the chat. I love you guys. This is an amazing team. It's exciting. See you guys tomorrow night, same time, same Zoom, and we'll get the image up. If not tonight, early in the morning. Okay. Have a good night, you guys. Love
bye,
you.
you guys.